What's the line? Just kidding. A Christian creative. I'll make this one go viral. You already recorded, I know, right? I know your tactics. I've seen the bloopers. And like even like this, like you interviewing me, like it just felt like I'm documenting now, like something like viable. That's like okay, you spoke it, you said it, now you're accountable. Yeah. What are you gonna do with it? Hi everybody, my name is Maurice Jones, and I am a Christian creative. Well, a little bit about myself is this is where I grew up. I'm here on my mother's porch, and I'm born and raised on what is known as the Highway or Northern Virginia. Went to Mount Vernon, went on to school at Old Dominion University, and that's where I happened to find my destiny, found my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and from there, God has moved me forward into many things that I'm doing now. I'm currently on the verge of starting several businesses. Right now, I work with a couple of friends with a business called Riders for Christ. My wife and I, a few years back, started another business called All God Everything. And right now, God is moving our businesses into a more ministry-based focus. So everything is comprised of biblically based teachings, ministry, and that's me in a nutshell. I first realized that I am a Christian creative when I was down at my church, Mount Peniel. It's in Fredericksburg, Virginia. When I was still living here in Virginia, caveat, I live in Florida now, in Orlando, Florida. But when I was here in Virginia at Mount Peniel, what I started to do is I tried to find a different way to engage the young people in our community. And from there, I started doing t-shirt designing and clothing sales just so we can raise some money for the youth department, and came up with the concept of All God Everything. And from there, it branched out to several things to where I became a book author. And then I started helping several other people develop books. But that was about, that was about 6 years ago now when I first started All God Everything. And what God really opened up my eyes to show me that what I was doing for the world, I could actually do for God. And I say that was about my point, starting that business where I really came into becoming a Christian creative. Throughout my life, I've had a great number of people that had a great influence on my life. Definitely, first and foremost, are my parents. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom was always instilled in me, you know, you have that it factor. You're gonna be great one day. You're gonna do great things. Both of my parents would do that for me. Ever since I was a little kid. My first actual business is when I was 7 years old. When I made little animal trinkets and sold them at my mom's job. So that was my first entrepreneur business at 7. And from there, my parents always instilled in me like greatness. They always spoke greatness into my life. They always say I can do anything, and they always pushed me to do that. And then as I got older, I found other mentors. One of my high school coaches for track, Sakenia Welch, he had a big impact on my life. Back when I was doing track and I was helping out at local community centers, he was one of the lead people there, and he kind of got me in that mindset of helping other people in the community, even at a young age. And from that on, I went on to my church where my pastor, Andy Court, kind of influenced me on the ministry side of things. And now that I live in Florida, my pastor, Tyrone, he's a big part because he's kind of tied all that in together as far as being a very motivational person, as well as my pastor, as well as a strong business-minded individual. So he's currently my mentor now with the development of my business and ministry. So those are some of the main people, as well as my wife. That's definitely one of my top is ever since day one with All God Everything to now, to supporting my vision, supporting my dreams, supporting my family. My wife has definitely have like the biggest impact, I would say, in this journey. What inspires me, or what gets me going, rather, because we can be inspired for just a moment and it can go away. But what keeps me, same thing with motivation, but what keeps me going or what keeps me motivated is constantly renewing my mind daily. And so I listen to audiobooks, I listen to my scriptures, Bible apps and things like that to get my daily inspiration, and then music too. If I'm in like a work mode and I have my good worship music going or good Christian music, I'm a big advocate for all genres of Christian music, Christian rock, Christian rap, all that kind of music. I love it all. I wasn't always that way, as you could tell from I had a change of heart from one of my good friends here who opened my eyes to see a lot more with music. But I just have a big passion for music. So if I'm in my work mode, it's the music. But if it's my day getting started, it's reading my word and listening to some inspirational messages like Miles Morales. I said Miles Morales, Miles Monroe, not Spider-Man, Miles Monroe, and Zig Ziglar. Those are some guys I listen to, and then even myself. I go back and play some of my old videos that I've shared, and sometimes I'm like in awe, like, wow, I said that. God gave me to say that, and not to boast myself up, but hearing things in repetition day in and day out is how I keep myself going. Because if I lose a day out, that can put me in a state of procrastination, that can put me in a state, off track of what I need to do. So I have to feed my mind daily, like the word says. The overall message that I want to convey in my creative expression is that through writing, your life can change. Right now, I'm working with Writers for Christ as well as my business, All Got Everything. And one of the greatest caveats in perpetuating forward in my life has been writing books, writing my day-to-day plan, writing my weekly plan, coming up with an agenda, writing down things that God has promised me and checking them off when God fulfills them. Writing is really what changed my life, and showing people how to do that the proper way, putting your voice out on blogging, putting your voice out in a book, putting your voice out on paper so you can see, the goodness that God is giving you each and every day, showing yourself gratitude. These are the things that I want to convey in my ministry and my message. Is that through writing, your life can change. I've never felt that my personal expectations have limited my creativity, because my biggest focus in everything I do is the concept of faith. And the reason why I say that is because I have an understanding of a faith-based reality. And once you really take the limits off of God, there is no limitation on what God can do in your life. So some people do limit themselves, and their expectations may exceed them, but I believe that through God, there's nothing that can be exceeded. And so whatever I imagine, I truly in my heart believe that God will fulfill it. And so there's never been a moment where I expected something and I received less, or I didn't push, for the mark. And or limited myself in my thinking, or limited my creativity. And actually it's pushed me to be even more creative, because I understand that every good idea comes from above. So I have no limitations in my thinking, in my creativity, when I put all my faith in God. Through my work, I would change one aspect of society that I would change would be the insensitivity, the lack of unity. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people rush to conclusions about other people. A lot of people rush to misunderstanding about other individuals. But through my teaching, what writing does for me, it gives you time to sit back and think about what you're doing. If you're writing your daily plan, you don't get worried about what the day ahead is, because you already planned it out. If you write about what you want to be, you don't have to hear lies day in and day out about people saying you're worthless, you're this, you're that, all these things that are lies, because you know who you are. You wrote it down and you see it and speak it over yourself every day. So if I can change how people perceive themselves and how they perceive others through my ministry and through what God has called me to do, I believe that it can be a big change in this world. If we take time to really understand who we are, and don't rush ourselves, don't rush our thinking, we can really unite ourselves with the Father, and that'll make us unite with our fellow man. And I believe through what I'm offering people and teaching them, it'll give them a way to not be so hateful first, to allow other people, allow other cultures, allow other faiths to come in, and then from there we can build. I'm glad you asked that question, because that is the starting point is what I do is dream big. You dream big, you set goals, you take action. So my big dream concept is to literally touch every continent on this earth with my teaching in some way. If I can have a book in every country, if I can have some of my teachings on the ears of every individual in this world, I'm not limiting myself. I'm trying to take over the world. My end game is that this whole world knows the message that God wants me to share. Make a list, and I want you to write down all the reasons why you think you're not creative. And then I want you to write down the opposite of those things, because the opposite of what you believe is your actual reality. If you think you're worthless, God called you to be greater. If you think you don't have the talent, God gave you talent. If you think whatever it is that you lied to yourself about, that you think is keeping you from being a creative, is all lies. God has called us to do great things, abundant things. So if you can identify everything that you think is holding you back from being creative, you can find within yourself all the truths that lie within you. And if you want to check out a little bit about what I do with Writers for Christ and All Got Everything, you can visit me at age Christian-clothing.myshopify.com. That's the clothing site. I have a new line called God Fit, some athleisure, because people like to work out, but they don't want to. They like to wear the clothes, but they don't want to work out. So I'm in that boat. As well as Writers for Christ. If you have a book, if you have a blog, if you have poems, whatever it is, and you just need that extra push to either get you started or get your name out there, visit www.writersforchrist.com. You can check us out on Instagram. You have Writers for Christ on Instagram. You have All Got Everything. You have AGE Clothing on Instagram. You have All Got Everything on Twitter. You have us on Facebook, Christian Writers for Christ on Facebook. You have All Got Everything. You have God Fit. All these platforms that you can reach out to, or you can reach out to me personally at Maurice I. Jones on Facebook. You can also email me at age.allgoteverything.com. If you're interested in the writing portion of what I do, you have Writers for Christ at yahoo.com. And if you have anything that you just want to get done, and you just need a little push, a little motivation, please feel free to contact me directly. My phone number is 571-839-1510. And this is the phone number I use for All Got Everything. You have to visit the email address to get our Writers for Christ team. Additionally, my wife is continually growing in her ministry with True Vine. She has her 30 Days of Restoration program. So if you're looking for a group activity to, get your mind right, get your spirit back right, and get your health back right, and you want to put a team together, she can run that team with you with her 30 Days of Restoration program. So that's a big thing we've been doing this year, and we do it every 3 months. But if you want to do it starting now, we can jump on that with you as well. Also, I'm starting a new series called Living the Right Life. And I'm showing certain remedies and certain tactics that I use day in and day out that has helped me bring success in not only my ministry, family, but in my business as well. And it's called Living the Right Life. So check me out on Facebook every Monday night with Living the Right Life, and check out our YouTube channel at All Got Everything so you can catch additional videos on how writing can change your life. And if I can leave you guys with anything, I want you guys to know that you have the power through Jesus Christ to achieve anything you want to in life. There are no limitations in God. There is no limitations in you. And that reminds me of my new book. It's called Young and Powerful, available on Amazon right now. And this book are some of the practices I've shared with you, but this really focuses on how God, if you allow God to maneuver you and take the limits off God in your life, there are no limitations for God. So get that book, get Young and Powerful, written by me, available on Amazon right now. I guarantee you it will change your life, and it will show you that when there's no limitations on God, there are no limitations for you. I am a Christian creative.